Hey yo, and welcome to Kevin and the Spleen in the morning. Sorry, Kevin. Spleen here just took a huge bong rip. You know, we got a 12-foot bong in the studio that goes all the way to the first floor, baby. And that's how we roll in the mornings. Nothing like a quick wake and bake. Get out of bed, roll over into the... Because, you know, I'm sleeping in the studio ever since my wife, Veronica, kicked me to the curb, baby. What's going on with you, Kevin?
Oh, man, you know how I look forward to that wake and bake every morning. That's how I get my day going. Hey, everybody. That was actually a really good Wolfman Jack impression. I don't know if that's what you're aiming for, but that was amazingly good Wolfman Jack.
This ain't no Wolfman Jack. This is the Spleen, baby. And this isn't just an intro bit. This is going to carry at least another 5 minutes or so. And now let's bring our corporate sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by the Catherine F. and J.R. Tolkien Foundation. Ever since Catherine F. found out that she could posthumously marry J.R. Tolkien, who is J.R. Tolkien's cousin, doesn't have the second R. He had to sell it after the divorce, baby, because his wife kicked him to the curb. But hey, you don't need an R unless you're a pirate. That's what I always say. Sailing the seven seas. And if you want to go to the Catherine M. and J.R. Tolkien Foundation, visit their website, cmjrt.org, baby. Charitable donations, that's their thing. And this is the ad copy, and I'm reading it directly off the script. Teleprompter. We use teleprompters in the studio because I insist on sparing no expense, baby. The problem with talking like this is you kind of have to let your air out very slowly, and it has the effect of holding your breath the whole time. It's like talking while holding your breath, but that's what it's like being on the radio. Okay. You know, there's a version of me that might be able to sustain that for another 10 or so minutes, but not today.
Yeah, this feels like we're going to discover one day this is actually your real voice, and the Spencer voice that we've all grown to love is all an act.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that I haven't discovered that about myself yet, but I think it's true. I've just been going around wearing the Spencer mask all this time, when inside I'm really the Spleen. So my cat supposed to I was a bit late to show up to the show. That's why you probably heard me apologizing as the intro started. But my cat, she shit on the floor again. She loves shitting on the floor. So I was cleaning that up. My cat has been doing better since since I took her to the vet. I was talking about how I didn't take her back to the vet, even though it seemed like, according to the doctor's instructions, I might want to do that. And that ended up seeming like the right decision because it's like, hey, I'm not spending $500. But yeah, so she's been doing fine. I'm switching her over to a new kind of food that's supposed to be good for cats with IBD. It's made with rabbits and peas. And she's been eating that lately. And today she had a shit that was wetter than normal. So now I'm like, we were doing so great. It was so dry. And now what's going on? So it's like, now are we going back into the woods? It was like I was having to monitor her so she doesn't go around wiping her ass on the floor. Because cats apparently, I didn't know this, but cats can scoot like dogs scoot. But yeah, so it's been a hassle, like following her around, cleaning up. And she doesn't like to have her butt wiped, but hey, someone's got to do it. I went and I bought baby wipes. It's been a whole ordeal, folks. But she seems to be doing better. I don't know. Who knows? The thing is, they shot her full of steroids,
but she's jacked now, is what you're saying.
I wish. The thing about steroids is they don't work the way you want them to, Like you go like, doctor, I have allergies, and they're like, steroids, and it's like, come on, that's not interesting. You know, like I want to, if I'm injecting steroids, I want to get swole off of it. But I don't know. You know, they say anabolic steroids. I wonder if those are different than the steroids they use when you have allergies or something. Who knows? But yeah, it's just, I don't know. But you know, they give you steroids and they only last so long. So it's like they gave her a big shot, but maybe that's wearing off. I mean, I give her steroids in pill form, but you know, it's going to have a diminished effect, obviously. But she seems better. That's what counts. She's more normal in behavior. It's important to talk about cat shit. And our next sponsor is Cat Shit here at Kevin and the Spleen. Cat Shit. Can't have cats without it. And now, Cat Shit Premium. All the cat without the shit. Subscribe today and have your cat stop shitting. Save hundreds of dollars in litter and litter boxes and toilet paper and Windex that you use to clean the floor. But yeah. You see, this is what I'm saying, man. We need a premise. Maybe the premise is Kevin and the Spleen. We rebrand. That happens to Kevin and the Spleen. We'll, of course, need a new domain name. But, hey, you know, anything's possible with hover.com, your one-stop shop to reserving domain names. If you have a project you want to get off the ground, the first step is getting a domain, and that means hover.com. Use the promo code 99PI for 50% off your first hover. Yeah. I always wanted to, this is like an idea I had ages ago, where we should just try and like download off the internet like the standard ad copy for all the big companies, you know, just like download Blue Apron ad copy from somewhere online and just like read the ads, you know, just, okay. Because I like ad reads. It's fun. I don't know. There's something weird about it, but the hard part is letting people or getting people to let you read ads, you know. Because they're like, no, this isn't a real ad. You're gonna confuse the market. This is bad. You know, we're gonna sue you for unlicensed utilization of our intellectual property and trademarks or whatever. But they should be, you know, they should be happy. What we should do is we should do that. You know, get the ad copy, start reading the ads.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing: there'll be real ads because we do that. Then we start billing. We just send bills to the advertisers. Yeah, I did 40 ad reads. So make with the fucking money. That could be really good. What do you think, Kevin? Is that illegal?
It's a business model I've never heard before.
Yeah. That's like well, it's kind of like COD, you know, cash on delivery, but it's kind of like cash after delivery, in a matter of speaking. It's like, you know, we can also like go into business selling products, and we can deliver the products to people's houses and then say, okay, now you got to give us money. We delivered the thing. So, you know, you got to pay up. That's what healthcare does, is they'll say, look, healthcare here, you buy one health, pay us $100. And then 7 months later, they'll say, like, actually, it costs $500. So you got to pay us $400. It's like, nope, I paid you. That's your problem now. Like, it's not my fault that you set the price. If you did that wrong, not at my issue. That's like, can you imagine going to Best Buy and buying a TV? And then like a year later, Best Buy's like, oh, actually, we fucked up. We gave you $50 off the TV. You owe us $50. It's like, no, I do not. That is not my problem. I don't understand where you think you have the legal standing to do this. Probably in the, you know, Byzantine insurance paperwork or whatever, terms and services. But I understand, like, there's insurance, and insurance is going to pay this, and insurance was recalculated. But I've experienced stuff that go well beyond that. It's like, no, actually, you know, it's just we mischarged you. It's like, that's not my problem. You can't tell me to pay an amount that I didn't agree to, and just say like, whoops, haha. It's like, you have billions of dollars anyway. Who the fuck cares? You know, Whatever. It sucks. Everything sucks. What sucks for you, Kevin?
What sucks for me? It's storming here again. I feel like I say that every Sunday when I'm talking to you guys here, but every Sunday when I'm doing shows with everyone, it's storming and my power's flickery and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. You know where it does? Do you have a UPS, uninterruptible power supply?
I do, but not enough for everything that I need to stay online for this.
Right.
I probably need to invest in a bigger one.
When I was a kid, I was led to believe that uninterruptible power supplies were much more common than it seems they actually are. Also, the term surge protector gets thrown around a lot. Like it's kind of correcting now, but you used to call every power strip a surge protector, but it's like these are not going to protect you from surges. You're fucked.
Pretty much.
But nowadays they call them power strips a lot more often, I guess. But you could you ever want to get like, Tesla has what they call the power wall, but there's a company called Condition Zero, I think, or something like that, that's like the same kind of thing. It's like, oh, buy a giant fucking $15,000 battery for us to last for like 12 hours or something. I feel like, obviously I don't know how to integrate that with an apartment, but I feel like if I had a house or something, I'd really want one of those. I mean, not even out of necessity, just because I think it's really cool to be all like, haha, I have this giant fucking battery. Like, that just seems really interesting to me, especially in California when you can get solar panels.
I built one of those at my old house before I moved, just totally like rid myself with shelf after shelf of like giant, kind of like car batteries and a big inverter, and tied that all into the house and everything. But It took me so long to set up and get configured and all that, to only decide to move a few months later, that I just didn't really have it in me to set up again here when I moved to the house.
Did you tear it down, or is it still in the house?
I sold it to somebody.
Right. In an unrelated note, your house burnt down, right? Of electrical fire.
Yeah, that's why I moved.
Yeah. So that's something like, that seems like scientist shit. Like, how do you figure that out? Did you just say like, did you know like, oh, I know the basics of electricity, I know how to do this? Or did you do a lot of research? Did you have to do a lot of like electrician math or what?
No, I mean, I did. There's a lot of math to figure out like how many batteries you need and how big of an inverter you need and things like that based off of what you want to power. But it's a lot of kind of what I do with my day job, where we run data centers and things like that, where we have batteries and generators and stuff like that kick in. So it's just like a baby version of what I do during the day.
Right. And that's stuff that you handle yourself. Like, you crunch those numbers at work. It's not like something that you partner with a different company to do.
We have other companies that help with it, and we have employees on staff that do it more than I do. But back when my company was just like 2 or 3 people, I did all that myself. But now we have people for that.
Now, tell me, were these batteries connected in series or in parallel?
So it was 4 pairs of 4 batteries connected in series. So it's 16 batteries total, 4 in series, and then 4 of those groups in 4 parallel batches.
Mega cells or whatever.
Yeah.
So for the folks at home, batteries can either be in series or in parallel. Just a little electrician tip for you.
We're really getting into some fascinating talk tonight. Yeah.
And batteries have something that's known as a capacitor. Is that correct?
There's a capacitor across the batteries to sort of filter things out. Yes.
Yes. For the folks at home, a capacitor is an electricity thing.
It is. It stores small amounts of electricity to smooth out power usage.
I know a lot of times our show leans incredibly heavily, just bearing down on comedy, but nothing useful. And so I think it's nice that we can kind of pivot to the news you can use, kind of practical knowledge around the house. So, I think, and when Kevin, tell the folks what a resistor is.
So that's something that prevents electricity from flowing partially. It blocks part, but not all of the electricity flowing through a circuit.
Yeah, it inhibits the flow of electricity, right?
Yes.
So you could take, what you've learned today and go mess with your own wiring, just
Rewire your house right now.
Yeah, unscrew one of the nearest power outlets and just, go to town. Just remember your tools, your screwdrivers, your forks, needle nose pliers. You'll be fine. It'll be great. But yeah, Jesus Christ, Kevin. What are we going to do? I was complaining last week that our show needs a premise, and I was hoping that in the comments or something, people would go like, "Oh, you know what you should do is something," and then I'd be like, "That's a terrible idea. Why would you even suggest that?" But ideally, someone would make a good idea, and I'd be like, "Yeah, let's just do that." Then we just do that from then on, and it becomes a lot easier, and we make tons of money. That's kind of what I was expecting to happen. But what did happen is no one talked about the show at all. So. Well, one person said, "Oh, it's good. I like how the show's not anything and isn't interesting and is just kind of boring, replacement level side conversations, the kind of thing that would be used to fill the background noise in the space of a cafe or some such, And I was like, yeah, thanks. I mean, it was a sincere compliment, but I don't know. It always just feels like we like that it's bad. We like the show. We like the show that it's bad. And it's like, yeah, because you guys are the fucking most invested crowd. We're the fucking nerds. But we want to appeal to the people in the back of the room. The people who have high discriminating standards, the people who don't listen and would if we did a better job, right? I cut you off, which is a faux pas in podcasting. No one ever cuts anyone off in professional level podcasting. Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just a little tangent here, but I've been playing with this text-based artificial intelligence system. And so after you mentioned that last week, I asked it to describe what this show is about or should be about to see what it said. And so it said That Happens is a podcast about bad experiences and how they can give life meaning. The show covers a wide variety of topics, including relationships, self-image, depression, anxiety, PTSD, and chronic illness. And then it goes on to say, Spencer Crittenden is a world-famous dungeon master who has worked on and created thousands of new worlds for role-playing games. In the past few years, however, he's created what may be the most interesting role-playing game you've never heard of, a series of games called Critical Role.
Whoa.
The premise is simple. It's all Dungeons and Dragons, except now the characters are real people. The main host of the show is none other than Crittenden himself, an accomplished voice actor who started playing Dungeons & Dragons at age 8. Crittenden is joined by his wife, Matt Mercer.
Well, you ever know that you like... AI is at its best when you can't see the strings, but you look at that and you could see pretty clearly kind of where the search string stopped and kind of spliced in a related idea, right?
Yes.
Even that was like Matt Mercer is joined by his wife Marisha Ray, who they both do Critical Role. So it's like very, very clear construction there. I am surprised that the AI determined, I've never talked about this on the show, but I have Crohn's disease. So it's impressive they sniffed that out. If anyone has Crohn's disease, I'm sorry you're an old lady. Because Crohn is like a,
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I don't know if that was helpful, but that was my idea of how to figure out what the show should be about.
So let's talk about the AI thing. So I've seen an AI where you start writing and it finishes writing. What kind of, was that the AI prompt you used or was it a different thing?
I just said That Happens is a podcast about, and then it filled in the rest.
Okay.
So it knew enough that you were involved with it.
Right. Yeah. Well, again, that makes sense. You think of like a word cloud or whatever, and it's like That Happens. Spencer Crittenden. And show helps them kind of put that together. And also, That Happens is like that happened kind of thing. That's kind of like I don't think it's That Happens, but it's That Happened is like a Reddit topic. So it's like, I'm sure some of the initial stuff it might have pulled from there, like with depressing whatever, the kind of dark shit it was bringing up. That's my guess. How it conjured that out of thin air. But can you pull that AI up? Let's fuck with the AI.
Okay, sure.
Maybe
I
this
was
is
trying
the
it
show, so
earlier.
we fuck with the AI.
Yeah,
you're trying
like
it earlier.
I asked it about Rob Schraub, and it nailed him. Like, he's into very popular short films. He's branched out into various creative mediums. Most recently with a film adaptation of his 2009 comic Goon, which I think is not him. But I've always loved sci-fi. I think of it more as a fantasy of sorts, and it goes on. I mean, it all sounds completely reasonable. I asked it about Harmontown, and it kind of nailed it, but kind of didn't. It said, the Harmontown podcast is back, and I can't quit it, tweeted its host, John Moe. We had to take a break, but we're back. No, not permanently, but just for a few episodes. It was a smart decision because the show is in rude health. But as far as I'm concerned, it never went away. Not during its hiatus at any rate. And it goes on talking about how it knows, like it knew that Harmontown wasn't still going, and,
Yeah. And it knew it was in rude health, which...
Yes.
I mean, that's impressive for an AI to be able to glean, just from the ether,
Yeah. I put in my name, and it finished it by saying Kevin Day is the best. His wife is the prettiest girl in the whole town. They've got 8 kids and 11 grandkids. And then it says, "Oh God, I'm sopping wet." And that's all it said about me. Normally it goes into paragraphs, and it just stopped right there. Spencer seems stunned by this.
Just kind of, we need more silence. We need more silence.
Okay.
Sopping wet.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know where they drew that from is the fucking comments of this podcast, because that's what everyone is fucking saying. Oh my God, like especially that sentence is Kevin is the best. Like there's at least like probably 40 or so comments on Reddit and stuff that they pulled that from. And probably
like
the sopping wet too.
Yeah,
I know so because I look, I have a problem where I look at the comments. It's not good. I'm addicted to the internet. I'm addicted to notifications and checking things, but it's not good. You're never gonna open it up and be like, Spencer, I have an offer for you. And the offer is a novelty check worth $1 million. It's another, there's no payoff. I talked about it before with like social media. It's like, it's like playing the slot machine, but there's no winning. Even what Twitter considers winning is just losing in a different way. Like it's stuff like, I don't know, like Twitter, people talk about it as like the thing, ideally the thing that people want to do is like make a big tweet that goes viral. And then that just destroys the app for you. Like your notifications just become filled with the mentions and the retweets and stuff. And then you can't see like anything that's happening. And then it just becomes this like deluge of nonsense, and it just makes the app like fucking unusable. And so it's like even the thing that ostensibly many people are trying to go for, maybe not most, but a lot of people are like hoping happens, is like just its own kind of travesty. And that's not even to mention then, a bunch of Nazis show up and say like, you should kill yourself, for making the tweets and stuff, and nerds arguing this and that. Anyway. So do you have the AI program up?
Yes, it's kind of slow though, but while you were doing that, I asked it, what's Kevin Day's deal? Because that's the most common question.
Oh, yes. There you go. You get that as a question?
Yeah. So I asked it that. It said, Kevin knows your name, your email address, and the email address of your fellow diners. He hopes you're okay and hopes you get help soon. As for you, Kevin, You can keep your pride and we'll take you in with open arms. I'll be watching.
I still want to circle back to, what do you mean? That's a question you get all the time? Where are you getting this question?
Well, we've had the recurring bit on here, what's Kevin's deal? And then everybody on like Discord and Reddit have been kind of fixated on figuring out what my deal is.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that's where I tried to see if it knew what my deal was, but I don't think it did. I get what
you mean. Okay. Okay. So I guess we'll have to fill time while the prompt comes up, but take dictation on the app, on the AI. Okay.
Okay.
So, put, the sword of Petraeus, like General Petraeus. You could spell it however you want. I'm sure it doesn't really matter. The sword of Petraeus is a +5 bastard sword with fire, period. It has the history of, and then try entering that and see what it does. Because here's what I'm thinking. I do a Patreon. where I make all sorts of D&D stuff. And if we could start something up and then it just, fills out the rest, that could make my life a lot easier, I already use AI to do art inserts and stuff because I can't fucking draw anything. But, if I can start outsourcing some of this, text writing to the AI bot, even if I have to go back and clean it up, that could be a real big thing. I could just be like, okay, all I do is make magic items now. And
okay, this one came back quickly. The Sword of Petraeus is a +5 bastard sword with fire. It has a history of being used to fight off undead and is the favorite sword of the Archbishop of Duros, who is known for having slain 4 vampire lords. The holy sword of an archbishop is an iron +2 bastard sword wielded by the Archbishop of Duros. The archbishop is also a patron of Duros. And then it kind of gets... it's well known throughout the country and can be found in almost any church.
Damn, a +2 iron bastard sword? That's just in every church? There's more news you can use, folks. Go down to your nearest church, look for a +2 bastard sword, and get to work smiting. It's important to smite. But yeah, that's cool. It doesn't seem super usable. I mean, the first couple of lines seem good. Maybe just delete the rest and be like, yeah, that's the sword. But I was hoping it might come up with like rules, like. Well, let me try it again. And see what it says here. Oh, you're just gonna double up, like try the same prompt again? No, it's just getting stuck in a loop now. It has a history of giving good people bad ideas. If you do not have it, I do not recommend you buy it. Well, there you go. That's like when there used to be like a game where you do the autocorrect back when you can like pick words for the autocorrect to just pick. Like it just gives you 3 options and you press the middle and it says like, I am going to the beach and I had so much fun with my friend and my friend and my friend and my friend. But I don't know. Is that still a feature? Have they gotten rid of that, or is that just something I disabled and promptly forgot about? I think it's still there. It's gotten better though, and it doesn't keep getting stuck in loops like that as much, I don't think. Yeah, there's definitely the predictive kind of text and stuff, but I just haven't seen like the 3 options down on in the tray or in the above the keyboard or whatever. I don't know, man. You've been watching any TV lately? We just started rewatching Game of Thrones from season 1. Wow. Why are you doing that? Just needed something new to watch. Interesting. Yeah. So you're at your fucking crisp audio. It doesn't mute your sneeze, but it does mute all of your laughter anytime unless you're not laughing, unless it's just complete fabrication, because I can do that too. Look. No, I mean, that looked pretty bad, actually. You do a lot better job. You're a lot better at fake laughter. Okay. But it's interesting that the laughter, which is, human utterance, they're vocal sounds. It gets cut, but the sneeze, which doesn't even really sound like, speech. It sounds more like it's like a cough or something. And the coughs usually do get cut, right? Yes, I think so. Not a sneeze. We need to invest in sneeze technology, like sneeze erasing technology. I don't know. Oh boy. So are you going to watch the House of the Dragon, or are you not going to watch it? Yeah, we wanted to rewatch Game of Thrones before we watch that. Oh, let me tell you, you don't need to. I mean, I'm sure it'll be interesting, but yeah. Because it's just, they make reference to like, oh, there's shit going on the Targaryens, the past Targaryen and in the past. And then it's like, okay, we're the Targaryens. Here we go. Gotta go to the Targaryen bathroom and stuff. It's like, it seems at least pretty self-contained. I guess I'll say that I did want to like look some stuff up just to see like what in the official A Song of Ice and Fire, like Wikipedia, it says about the people that them show up, in the series, and see if there's any like name references. So Kevin has dropped something in the chat. Is this more of an AI? Right. I was AI hoping prompt? You could read that to the D&D theme. Okay. So did you just stop it at Dungeons and Dragons?
So I just said last time when that happens, Dungeons and Dragons.
Right. Okay.
And then
All
I
right,
let it finish
let's
it.
do
So
it.
do you want to try this? You ready?
Hit the music, yeah. Last time on That Happens, Dungeons and Dragons, we had just gotten the gang back from a trip to the Underdark, and they went through an annoying long encounter with 2 bugbears. However, when they came out of the encounter, they were all completely naked due to a magic artifact which was stolen by the bugbears. As much as all of them would like to get the damn thing back, it's not in a particularly friendly and approachable place, and is guarded by 3 hordes of nasty bugbears and mindflayers. What's with the bugbears? With such a rough map, who will decide what is worth fighting for and what isn't? I'm sure I'm not the only one who has tried to plan a fight like this, and in the end, we had nothing to show for it. This time on That Happens, Dungeons and Dragons, we're going to take a look at how we can plan this sort of fight in the game, and even have some fun with it. You know, that's a big fail by the AI of not being able to get to the actual end post, you know? It's like, that's a big part of how I do it, so.
That still was pretty decent, though, for it, I think.
Oh, I thought it was great. I think, you know, I wish the fucking AI could figure out that bugbears are fucking low-level monsters. The idea that, mind flayer, I guess if they're hordes of bugbears, yeah, that's fine.
3 hordes of nasty bugbears. That does sound pretty bad.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know.
This is almost an idea for a game where we play D&D, but every week we just let it come up with a backstory and just wing it from that point forward.
Yeah. That would be a good premise if we were actually good at improv. You know, I always had, you know, I don't know. There was a time where the D&D on Harmontown was kind of, let's say, jumping the shark. You know, it was kind of not, the gang wasn't as interested in the D&D anymore. You know, we eventually started playing Shadowrun, and there was like less interest in that, and then we stopped, and eventually we started playing D&D again. Sorry for burping in the mic, the person who's going to take a video of vomiting, my bad. But so there's even less interest once we came up with the new campaign. But like way before that happened, hey, that's the name of the show, everybody. Drink.
Take a shot, everybody.
I miss Jeff. Yeah, I don't know. When Jeff's on the show, you don't talk very much, but the platonic ideal of podcast is 3 people, you know. Anyway, back to my stupid story. There was a point where I was like, I feel like the fans have an appetite for D&D that isn't quite getting met by what we're doing on the podcast anymore. And what I should do is spin off. Like, I guess I would probably still do the podcast just as my normal, you know, sidekick role or whatever. But, you know, then we could try and do something that's more under my purview, and it's its own thing that's just like D&D. And for that idea, I was thinking it could be more comedic and more kind of silly. And I was thinking it could be more improv based. It would be kind of like closer to improv with the trappings of D&D, whereas like in that version I had thought of it as like a podcast or maybe even a live comedy show. And so like each week you just start with like a premise, like a loose premise, and it would be different premises. It might even be different characters every week, you know. And then it's just you read off the premise, and then it just kind of falls to the guys, and then they start like, oh, so it looks like we're at the mall or what, you know, whatever. And then people can, you know, it's more improv-y, whereas people have more like improv powers as opposed to the DM mostly kind of setting the world building. And, you know, you could cut scenes, you could cut to different scenes and stuff. The players could like say like, oh, that reminds me of this or whatever, you know, and cut to that. And I always thought that was a good idea, but you know, I'm a terrified piece of shit. And so I was like, you know, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't know how to start that. I'm afraid. And I didn't do it. It's one of my big regrets, honestly. I mean, maybe that wasn't the best way to do it, like the more improv-y version or something. But I always thought that like it would be a good move to try and spin off the D&D into kind of something separate. And Yeah, then
That
turns
sounds like
out
a good
all the
idea.
people. Yeah, because yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good idea. Like, because the Adventure Zone and Critical Role and stuff. There's all these things that are like, yeah, this is just what we do as D&D. And like, if we were doing it back then, it didn't fall apart really quickly. It could have maintained. I think like, I don't know if the gang would have wanted to do that. Like, it might have had to get a different cast or something. And if it was a different cast, who knows how long the staying power, the shelf life of that would have been. But having a D&D series, I think, would have been good. Certainly would have been something for me to do, like put my name on and stuff. It would be like, that's the thing at this point. Critical Role, I mean, even aside from its massive worldwide success, it's like it has a lineage and a history now, like that Harmontown doesn't really have, because it was never, the D&D was never the forefront. But the D&D of Harmontown is impressive, but it just like it's like a subsection. It's like a tab in the Wikipedia as opposed to like its own entry, right? And that kind of neuters it as a cultural force. Like, it's only ever going to be under that umbrella, which isn't bad or anything. It's just like, I think it probably could have gotten to be as big, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if the gang would have wanted to do that anyway. I'd imagine, like, I like to think they would have, but who knows?
I would have hoped so.
Yeah, we always had Harmon Quest and stuff anyway, so that's its own thing, certainly. But Harmon Quest isn't a podcast. I'm talking about more of like a podcast where you can do tours and stuff, do stuff like that. But hey, it was a problem. I should have done it. It was there was a point where I was like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna regret it. And boy howdy, was that the case. It definitely feels like a missed opportunity, but at least we have That Happens, the show that was also supposed to be a D&D show. But hey, it's all good. Anyway, I brought up House of the Dragon, or I brought up TV because I've been watching the Rings of Power. Have you been watching the Rings of Power? Probably. It sounds like you haven't.
No, I haven't yet. No.
I think it's really good. Everybody should watch the Rings of Power. It's a lot of fun. I think the best thing about Tolkien's work is the world building. Like, orcs, the Gandalf, Balrogs, Mithril, all that stuff. It's all really cool and really interesting. But then in the books, it's not its like perfect form, right? It's the books tell this one very specific story. They tell it in a very specific way, where they spend a lot of pages talking about, walking down the road, and then it's like, here's 2 pages on an elven trail song and stuff. And it's like, it's this really weird kind of approach to telling stories in this very interesting, deep world, right? I don't know. I haven't read the Silmarillion, but I think that's something that people like about the Silmarillion. Obviously, like The Hobbit was like a punchier book. It's like a better read than the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because it's more like pulpy. It's more kind of high fantasy, just action. Here we're in a cave. We're hiding from orcs. Now there's fucking Golem. What the fuck? We're doing riddles with the monster. Like, it's more kind of, it hits more of the you fight the dragon. It hits more of the kind of, tropes of fantasy that are really interesting, but it's in the same world, And so the Rings of Power, it offers, here, let's go to that world, but now we're not bound by, those books and that one story. We can just, what if there was a fucking hilt of a sword that was Sauron's something, and who knows what it is, but it's evil. And it's like, that's cool. It's cool to see people, new characters interacting with stuff. Probably the most central character in the show is Galadriel, is like young Galadriel, who is like an interesting character in the books and pretty interesting in the movie, just because she's like this weird kind of like cerebral elf, and then she like becomes all crazy and cursed for a moment, and it's like, oh, don't give me the ring, I'll destroy the world, or whatever. She becomes all scary. It's like, I wonder what the hell's going on there. And so, but then the series is there's multiple threads of the story, right? But one of the major ones is her as a young elf. She's just like a badass kind of warrior going around trying to uncover the secrets of like this, ancient evil who everyone else wants to believe is gone. And it's like, that's compelling. I want to see and she's an elf, and elves are like fucking haughty and elitist and stuff. So she's like a total asshole. She's going around being an asshole. And then elves are also kind of like overpowered. So she's fighting a bunch of like people at once, and she's like always besting people in combat and being just completely badass. It's like, this is awesome. Just watching an elf going around be a complete asshole and being a badass. It's like, it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. I think it's like the opposite of Game of Thrones, like the complete opposite. It's not like there's no darkness, but it's a lot lighter. It's not like, gritty violence and like, oh, you can't show this on TV, it's just a prestige television, high fantasy television series, which is like great. That's right up my alley. I just think it's a lot of fun. It doesn't, it's not weighed down by the kind of the concepts and aesthetics of Game of Thrones, but it kind of exists in that same milieu. It's like just a completely different take on fundamentally, like, what if there was this crazy fantasy world where a bunch of bad shit was going on? It was hard for a lot of people, it's just like, and then everybody gets raped 5 times, it's like, it's fine. Like, it's like, you don't need that to tell an interesting story, and it's awesome. I'm having a lot of fun. Apparently people on YouTube really hate it for whatever reason. Because people on YouTube are miserable pieces of shit, I think. But yeah, on Twitter, everyone seems to like it. I don't know. You should check it out. We should watch it. Maybe this could be a Rings of Power podcast or a Silmarillion podcast. That happens. The podcast where we go deep into the Silmarillion and read it and understand it really deeply. I don't know. The Tom Bombadil cast. The podcast where we try and decode Tom Bombadil's songs. That sucks. This all sucks. If you have a good idea for what we should do on the podcast, let us know. Maybe we'll watch anime. Like, get animated. Man, the thing is, we don't have it, Jeff ages ago was like, hey, we should do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, you have any ideas on what we should do? And what if he's like, and he was like, nah, what if it's just like us shooting the shit? And I was like, we're going to shoot the shit no matter what the podcast is. We need like an idea. And then he like would text me again. It's like, hey, we should do a podcast. So I was like, yeah, no, I know. Have you come up with an idea? Because I've been thinking about ideas. We could do a food podcast. I don't know. Like, you're a vegetarian. I never eat vegetables. It could be like an interesting contrast to do a food podcast. He's like, no, I haven't thought of any ideas. And it's like, well, that's the reason why we haven't started a podcast. And then, years later, he was like, hey, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, fine, let's do a fucking podcast. And here we are today. But it's not like I would have wanted to do a premise because I knew he would never show up ever again. No, even with Jeff there, it's like, but any podcast has its own share of bullshitting, and all podcasts kind of, well, not all of them, but podcasts can kind of have this gravity where they drift away from the original premise anyway, because it's funner to just shoot the shit. But having something to hang your hat on and be all like, yeah, let's recenter ourselves and go back to the premise a little bit, just makes everything easier. Structure, man, having structure, it makes it easier. Like, this word from our sponsors. Hey, it's me, the Spleen. I can't. This is killing my voice. But that's why I would do the humorous ads, because it's at least a little bit of structure. And that's the point of what's Kevin's deal. It's like it's a segment. Segments. It's all basic communication theory. Really, is like people like the familiar. That's why you start in a similar way with a theme song or whatever and end in a similar way, is because it sets expectations for what the audience, is going to see. And then what, like, the basic building block of communications theory is, what is it? Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So you start with something the audience knows because that makes them comfortable. And they're like, okay, I think I'm settled. I'm centered. I have some grasp of what's going on. And then you go, but wait, antithesis. And they're like, but what? This is the opposite of what I thought I knew. And then, you're like, okay, I've really thrown you for a loop here. But now synthesis, we're going to combine the thesis and the antithesis together. And then you're like, wow, that was satisfying. I came away with this with a greater understanding of the basics of what I knew and this new information that threw me for a loop, so that's like what a lot of stuff is. So that's, when you have this familiar parts, that's the thesis, and it lets you, it buys you more variance with the antithesis. It lets you go further afield because they're like, yeah, okay, let's hear him out because we know he's going to come back to the core, so yeah, I don't know. What I'm saying is I'm a genius and no one ever listens to me and we all suffer as a result. That's the thing. No one is hurt more than this by this than Jeff. Jeff is the one really suffering by not listening to it. He's destitute. He doesn't know what he's going to do next. He's fucked because he just didn't listen to me when I had my great ideas. And I'm over here laughing it up, making millions of dollars touring, the countryside with my famous comedy friends. We should, what would be funny? We should try and book the other members of the Who's Live tour on the podcast. It's like, yeah, no, they're in other states too, but they can actually call in Mockery. That's why they call him that, because he's always, he can call in. I could have landed that better. Whatever. That
was really good, actually. That did a good chuckle out of me.
Yeah, I like the idea of call in Mockery. Like, hey, we gotta get him to call in. I think that could be a segment. Call in Mockery, where Mockery calls in, and we could bank a bunch. You do a bunch of like 2-minute call in kind of bits. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's the other thing about Jeff is he knows famous people. I guess Kevin knows famous people too. But Kevin can't get the goods, baby. Fucking, we're trying to book Heather Ann Campbell. She's too busy. Wouldn't you guys want to see Heather Ann Campbell?
I would love to see her on the show. But yeah, no, she is legitimately very busy right now.
I know. She's super busy. I listened to her podcast, How Did This Get Played? Well, I think it's called Get Played now. And she's always talking about like how she's way too busy to even play video games, which is like the premise of their show is they talk about like the video games they've played. And she's like, I haven't played any video games. I don't have time. Which it's not, I'm not complaining. I totally understand, but it's like, yeah, she's a huge fucking gamer. So like her not having time to play video games is like this huge statement, it's like, Jesus Christ, even Heather Ann Campbell can't be playing video games. But it'd be cool to have her on and talk about how the world is ending, share our theories. She's had a lot of theories that have come true. She's a bit of a soothsayer. She might have Cassandra syndrome, but I don't know. Man, you hear about any of this alien stuff? There's alien stuff happening.
No. Which alien stuff?
Just general. There's nothing specific, really. Just there's alien stuff that's happening. I don't know.
Like, is something recently happened, or you just mean like in general that there are aliens?
Kind of, but not really. I don't know. More people are just talking about more people that supposedly have firsthand knowledge of shit the government's doing have been coming out. Obviously, there's been the congressional hearings and stuff, but I don't know. There's this guy who's really into aliens who is in my Discord, and he's always talking about aliens. But he always posts stuff, and it's like, I don't know. This just seems like the same shit that people have been saying for years. But there have been, new governmental disclosures and stuff. There's been hearings, most of which have been closed, where they've been talking about this stuff. So that's not very fun because they're talking about it, but no one is hearing about it. So it's like, well, we always knew that was the case. We always knew a bunch of people in the government were secretly talking about aliens and won't let us know about it, So, but yeah, I don't know. There's been more alien sightings or UFO sightings. This might have happened the whole time, but there's been more sightings of UFOs that come out of the water or enter the water. And so it's like they keep their trajectory from, coming out of the water and then breaking the surface and then going out in the air. and it's just really impressive technology to have a craft that can do that, or even not a craft, even if it's some weird thing. It's like it's pretty impressive stuff. And I don't know. There's alien stuff could be radioactive. There's often like radioactive, traces and stuff that's found with supposed, crashed materials and stuff. And like, if I don't know, if you think about it, to me, if you're in a spaceship, you're going around the space, infinite space, like leaking radiation into the environment doesn't seem like it's that big of a concern, because it's like, yeah, it's infinite space. It's like, what's it going to do? Hit some random radioactive dust, it'll be fine. But then, if you had a radioactive craft that's leaking radioactive shit, I don't know, radio waves, whatever. And you had to hide that somewhere. Water is a good shield of radiation. And so like you would want to hide it in the ocean, deep in the ocean where, it would block all the radioactivity. So I think it's kind of interesting that people are seeing them there. Maybe the people who are making this shit up had the same thought. And they were like, that would be really plausible. And people like Spencer would be like, yes, this all makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just waiting for the silver bullet. And I don't think there's ever going to be a silver bullet, because if there was, they wouldn't, that'd be the one thing they wouldn't want to reveal, right? I don't know.
Well, like if you had
to see any alien shit, go ahead.
Well, like if you had to bet money right now on, have there been aliens on the planet in our lifetime, where would you place that bet?
Yeah, well, how would you prove it, right? So I'd put the money down for sure, because yeah, I think there have. But I don't know how I would prove that and get my money, so it's like I'd probably lose. But if you could ask God, yeah, and that was the bet. The bet is we're going to go ask God to see what he says. I'd be like, yes, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. There's just like, I don't know. There's footage and there's stuff and stories that people have said, like legitimate people seeing stuff. And I think even if 95% of that is explainable by like human phenomenon, I feel like some of them just like, it just doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't seem reasonable. And I do think a lot of it's somehow fake or has logical explanations, just not all of it. I don't know. One of my friends, Ryan, he's definitely seen, like, I haven't like heard the super detailed story, but he's talked about it a couple times. But he and his friend were outside somewhere and they saw like a UFO that was really big and relatively close, which is like, usually the story is like you see like a light that's like, way out in the distance and the light's like blinking or it's spinning or it's like, flying around. But like, even if like that to me is more, dubious. Where it's like, yeah, maybe it was just a plane doing something crazy. Maybe it was a comet moving at a weird angle and it changes angle. And so that like, from your perspective, it makes it look like it's being even crazier than it is, but far away, it's like, who knows what it is? It's far away. But him claiming to see something really close, and he saw it with his friend who also saw it. Like they both saw it and they're like, Jesus Christ. And I don't think he was on drugs or drunk or anything at the time. So like, I don't know, like that to me is like really a plausible story where I don't think, he could be lying, I guess, but I don't think he's lying. And it's like, if you see a UFO that's like big, it's like, what the fuck else could that be? Like a really weird blimp that's like moving fast, it's like a big UFO. Like that's the thing. All these stories, like they have in common that the thing is really far away. So it's so small that you don't know what it is. It's just the movement is what's crazy. But there's a couple stories like that are different. I don't know, man. Whatever. But it is confirmed. Soda. Is that a good segue?
That's really good.
So I won the contest. Oh, good. Go ahead. Sorry, I forget about this. Time to drink. We have a segment, and the segment has a little song. And I talk over the segment song, but I wanted to say that I won the contest for the Mountain Dew contest, where they send you the new flavor, the secret flavor, Baja Deep Blast or whatever the fuck. It's a new flavor that they're not selling; they're only giving to people for free if they enter the contest. And I won that, so I got 6 new sodas. But we're not going to try those because I got to send one to Kevin. And then we'll try them. I mean, I've tried it, but I won't reveal the results of my investigation. But we're going to send it to Kevin. We're going to talk about it. What we are going to talk about is the limited edition, the Artist Marshmallows Coca-Cola, which is this white slim can. Marshmallow is a musical artist of some stripe. I'm sure he does electronic music. I don't know. He seems a lot like Deadmau5 in terms of aesthetic. It's like let's wear a mask and be mysterious. But who knows? I don't know. I don't follow Marshmallow. But you know, his mellow has an E, whereas Marshmallow usually has an A. But it's because he's so like mellow, and I guess he wanted to really emphasize that. Or maybe it was like SEO purposes. I don't know. Who knows? But it says watermelon strawberry flavored Coke and other natural flavors.
Yeah, I was excited because I thought this was actually going to be marshmallow flavored, like kind of like a s'mores fall kind of thing. And I was super excited about this. I'm not saying I don't like the idea of watermelon strawberry Coke, but that's not what I would have guessed based off the name.
I agree that like a heavy marshmallow flavored Coke sounds like it would be really cool, like really interesting.
Yeah, almost like a smoky, like, you know, a little bit of char to the marshmallow, like a s'more sort of thing, but with that same sticky sweetness to it.
Yeah, like the Starlight had kind of a s'more flavor to it, but I don't think it really had a strong like marshmallow flavor. I think it had like maybe some vanilla notes, and then it had more of like a graham cracker flavor to it, which kind of evoked marshmallow or kind of evoked s'mores. But I don't think it like I don't remember it having a strong marshmallow taste, but I could be wrong. So I'm gonna crack this open.
Okay. All right, Spencer is opening his right now. While he's doing that, I'm going to hold the can up to the camera so people who are watching this can kind of see his logo on there and what it looks like. Spencer's sniffing it.
It smells fruity. I do want to say that it has calories. I thought it was like a diet, but it has 140 calories, which I think is the same amount as a normal Coke. It's a thin can, but it's still 12 ounces. So it's like a normal can.
A 0-calorie version at the store too, where I picked this one up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where his face is black instead of white. But that's the only difference. Yeah.
They also have the Mountain Dew Bite or Mountain Dew Pixel. I think it's Bite, which they said tastes like pixels. But that one I'm pretty sure is only available in 0 calorie. Maybe I can see if I can like buy that online or something, because that's one I wanted to try. Because I think there was the new Coke, the Dream World, the Marshmallow, the Starlight, and then the Bite. And I think those are all the kind of crazy flavors they came up with. But for whatever reason, I just totally missed Bite. It totally passed me by or whatever. So I'm gonna give it a taste, I guess.
Okay, Spencer's tasting it. He's kind of swishing around a little bit in his mouth. He's contemplating.
Yeah. So the kind of first note is like a strawberry note, but it's like really light. It's almost like an aromatic, kind of like a strawberry scent, and it has other fruity notes, which I assume is probably watermelon. When watermelon's in the mix with other stuff, it just kind of like tastes generally like fruity, you know. And then it has more of a Coke tail. You want to give it a shot?
Yeah, I haven't taken a sip yet, but it smells like strawberry Pocky. Have you ever had that before?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's kind of like a bit of a creamy strawberry almost.
Yeah. Okay, let me give this a taste.
Kevin's giving it a taste. It's time for Kevin's taste.
Yeah, it is a very berry kind of Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Refreshing. I like it. It's very subtle, though, I think. There's not a lot of the Coke flavor there. It's more fruit than Coke.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's subtle. I kind of feel like it's muddled. Like, it kind of feels like the flavors don't... I don't know. Like, you know, what you want, ideally, is the flavor profile has different peaks and valleys that all kind of fit together, where they don't like... where it's not like interference. You know, if you think of the flavors as like frequencies, you want them to be in separate bands, so they're not like interfering with each other's. And I feel like these, they're kind of in similar bands. Like I wouldn't necessarily together. Yeah. And Coke is like a much stronger flavor, so they probably had to go light with the Coke so it didn't like overwhelm the fruit. But as a result, it just kind of has this kind of muddled taste to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't pick out the individual watermelon and strawberry. Those all just sort of are a blend, I think.
Yeah. It's interesting. I kind of get like strawberry on the tip of my tongue and then like watermelon in the back of my throat a little bit. And then the Coke kind of starts breaking through almost. It's interesting that like, I don't know. It kind of feels like eating a cake or something where like a cake has these different kind of striated like stratifications of flavors. It feels like it's kind of hitting at different places all at once, whereas you would expect a beverage to kind of just be all mixed together. It kind of feels like, yeah, it's like it's a bunch of different chunks of flavor or something. It's interesting. I don't wonder how they do that.
I would drink this, but I don't think I'd go out of my way to buy it. What's your score on this?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Dream World is more successful as a standalone soda than this, but I feel like I would take this over Dream World almost every time just because it's more interesting. Whereas Dream World, it's like, okay, this tastes like what it tastes like. Why do I want that? Whereas this is like, you want it because it's like, it's weird. Like, it's like, that's kind of what I liked about Starlight is it's like, it's contemplative. It's like, I want to drink about this and think. I'm going to sit in my stuffed armchair and really contemplate what's happening. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's the thinking man's Coca-Cola. And I'm the thinking man's Joe Rogan. So, you know, I think it's a perfect fit. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would drink this. I don't think I'd go buy it again. It's probably my favorite of the strange Coke flavors we've had this year, but not by a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've had Starlight, but I do think this is more pleasant than Starlight. Starlight's a bit too weird. The big negative to me for Starlight was the menthol kind of the cooling flavor. It's more of like a temperature, kind of like spicy or something. That it had. It didn't like taste like mint really, but it had this kind of cooling effect on your mouth, which was really interesting. Sorry, the guy who's going to throw up. It's really interesting, but it's not. It wasn't like good. Like it was like novel, but it's not like, oh, I want soda to be like this. Whereas this, it's like, yeah, this is a competent execution of a soda. Like this feels like. It feels normal. It feels like passable. It feels like a marketable product and not like a gimmick. That makes sense. Here's the thing, guy that was going to throw up. You know we do this in the last like 15 minutes of the show. Like you could just shut it off. You got the whole show. You know, it's like this is all that's going to happen is we're going to talk about fucking bullshit soda and stuff. So like it's not like we do it at the beginning of the show and you're like, who knows when they're going to stop and get to the meat and potatoes of the show. It's like, no, the show's done. It's fine. You can, what, you want to listen to me plug something? Who the fuck cares? Like, you're good.
This
you don't
is
have
the
to
meat
do
and
it.
potatoes of the show.
I don't know. This is the Coke and Highland Toffee. Speaking of which, our friend Joel had sent us a lot of candy from, I don't know if it was from Scotland. It was definitely from, you know, the British Isles or Europe or whatever the fuck. But yeah, you want to try this Or Woolly's Bra Highland Toffee Chew Bar? Is this Or Woolly? I guess this is Or Woolly. We got like the mascot on the screen. He looks kind of like, I don't know, Sluggo mixed with Richie Rich. I don't know. I can't get it to focus. It's being blurry. But Or Woolly says the very dab, but he's not even doing the dab. It's kind of embarrassing. He's like one of these out of touch millennials who doesn't even know how to do the dab. Kevin's smelling it. Did you open it to smell it?
Yeah, I opened a little bit to smell it. It smells like really good caramel toffee. Like
right. Toffee's classic. That's like a classic kind of, you know, confection.
Mm-hmm. I
can't get this thing open. Here we go. Yeah, it looks like caramel. All right. I'm going to have to move the mic away so you can't hear me chewing. Can you imagine if someone heard me chewing? I'd have to die.
Okay, so Spencer's tasting it.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Okay, Spencer has walked away. Oh, he's back. He's back. I thought he left. He's chewing it. He looks like he's having some difficulty with chewing it. I can tell. I haven't put this in my mouth yet, but I can feel it's going to stick to every one of my teeth hard. Yeah, Spencer's nodding. That's the problem he's having right now. I think it's stuck to his teeth to the point that he can't talk.
And if I'm talking, it's gonna sound disgusting and like food.
Okay, so yeah, he's picking it out of his teeth. I'm gonna try it the tiniest.
Take a really small bite.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a very, very small bite. Yeah, it smells good though. It smells. It's got that
like a
smokiness, like that.
Flavor wise, it's like a really milky caramel. Like I feel like I don't know that when I eat a caramel, I'm like thinking milk, but it has to me like a really strong kind of milk flavor. But it's like it's like this very nice caramel. But texture wise, it's like worse than a Charleston chew. Like it's more chew. Like I feel like it's similar to a Charleston chew, right? You think?
Yeah. But this is very adhesive. This is sticking to your teeth hard.
Yeah,
it's good.
I can't even think of like an analog, because at least Charleston chews are like kind of gummy. They're maybe closer to a Tootsie Roll than this.
It's like those lollipops that are like caramel, or the green apple on the inside, and then caramel on the outside. How those just like stick to your teeth. So it's like that.
Man, those fucking kicked ass. I remember when I was a kid, they would sell them at the store, or at the student store, for like $0.25. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I was like, this is a California thing. This is not a candy that's available everywhere. This is just for us. I don't know why I got that in my head, but they eventually became more widely available. But that's a fucking good ass candy. But yeah, that has the exact same kind of chewiness to it. That's a perfect comparison.
These are good though. It's very milky, very, very milky.
Yeah. You know what else we had in school? Lemon lollies, which were 50 cents. Back in my day, lemon lollies only cost 50 cents. You ever get lemon lollies, Kevin? Maybe you guys call them something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you cut a lemon in half and you stab a peppermint stick in it. And peppermint is slightly porous. So you bite the ends off the peppermint. But it's slightly porous. So you could use it as a straw and suck with all your might. And suck with all your might, episode title. You could draw the lemon juice up through the peppermint stick, and it would, since it was acidic, it would dry out, like it would rub off the sugar of the peppermint stick, so that it would be not sweet enough for straight lemon juice, but it would be sweeter, And we'd sell them at 50 cents at like parent teacher conferences and school events and stuff. It was great, man. That's another thing where I was like, man, my school is a genius. How did they think this up? But now Kevin's revealing this is more widely, present. Hey, did you have lemon lollies or caramel apple pops at your school? Let us know at That Happens Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and tell us the weird things your school had. Do you guys have weeples? The fuzzballs with googly eyes? Sound off in the comments. At Kevin in the Spleen. What do you think about this? Like, it's really good, but it's like too chewy. Like, I want to eat it flavor wise, but I don't want to subject myself to having to chew this, but it's really good.
Yeah. What's the like solid version of sipping something? Like, this is something you have to sip at. Like, you can't just eat the whole thing.
I guess nibble, right?
Yeah, I guess, but it's not so much nibble. It's just every so often you're just going to have a little tiny bite, and then let your jaw rest.
Mm-hmm. That jaw rest. Jaw rest is a serious issue in this country, and I'd like to see more people talking about it. Corn Pop. You know about Corn Pop?
The
Biden's
cereal?
nemesis. No, Biden's nemesis, Corn Pop, the gangster.
Oh, no, I do not.
Biden, early on in his campaign, he would talk about Corn Pop. Old Corn Pop. Where he was a gangster that Biden had to reckon with. And there was a point where Biden was facing down Corn Pop, and he thought he was going to get stabbed. So I think he put his jacket over, but he allegedly wrapped chain around his arm, and then like put that in a jacket or a sleeve to hide it. But so he, like, the thought process being like, my arm is wrapped in chain. I can use this to, block knife attacks. But I don't think they ever fought because I think he talked him down using the power of, logic, facts and logic. Not unlike Ben Shapiro. But Kevin's been using the end of the show, or Kevin's been using the AI bot to come up with end of the show prompts. There are 5, so I'll just read all of these off. Starting with number 5. It's time to end the show the same way we do every week. With our hands, we rock. With our hands, we roll. Number 4. Maybe we can. This is like an audition. Maybe one of these we can settle on, and that will be our long-standing ending phrase. Anyway, number 4. It's time to end the show by saying the same thing I do every week. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned next time for another brand new episode. And that's the last line of the script. We usually break just after that to say goodbye, and that's it. It's that simple. That's good. I kind of like that one. Yeah. Number 3. It's time to end the show by saying the same thing I do every week. Stay strong, friends. I'm going home. Thank you for listening to me and sticking with me this long. That's very earnest. Like, that's very true to the spirit of the show. That's my energy, regardless. Number 2. It's time to end the show by saying the same thing I do every week. I love you. I love you. That's how Patrick would say it. And number 1. This is the end of the show for real. If you're keeping track at home, such as like Kevin, cue the end of the show to happen after I finish saying this. It's time to end the show by saying the same thing I do every week. Have a good week, all. Ciao, everybody. Oh, God. That was terrible. See you, folks.
Scarpins Avenue.